Okay, Matt. So today we're going to sort of pull back the curtain a little bit and teach people how they can do their own online reputation management. And this is, of course, a really thick subject. And I thought today maybe we could start with something that you've always used, and that's press release distribution. First of all, maybe to ask the question, like, what is paid press release distribution?
They are an outlet where you can publish really anything. It has to be a story to some degree, a milestone, an announcement, but you can get creative. If it's you can make a small donation to a local charity, and you don't have to say how much it is, but you can say Mike Smith is a proud sponsor of the Humane Society. Just something to announce, really. They're most of the outlets are pretty loosey goosey about allowing it through as long as it's something you're saying. It can't just be editorial. It can't be like you just writing a blurb about yourself. It has to have some milestone announcement aspect. But once you write it, which is easy nowadays too, if you don't have the time with Chat GPT, right? It's incredible. So you pound it out, 1,000 words ideally, and there's various outlets that do really, really well. And pay the fee. It goes live the next day, ranks well pretty quickly. You can use a click team to click on it, promote it to the very, very top if it doesn't naturally.
Okay, so before we get into other methods, if I'm a novice and I'm watching this video, first of all, how do I find a paid press release distribution service? I just go to Google and search for one?
Yeah, I can tell you some. So
Well, sure. Okay, if you want to.
yeah, that's all right. We got plenty of business. If people want to do it themselves, by all means, it's people. We definitely have skill sets that are unique with the click team and SEO, but building press releases is nothing special. It's just good old man labor. And so to answer your question, the best outlets from my experience have been Globe Newswire, Access Wire, EIN, and ZEX PR Wire. They all do really
So,
well. They rank really well. The beautiful thing about them is you pay a one-time fee and they are live forever.
and so you mentioned it sounds like four unique companies who are doing paid press release distribution.
Mhm.
And now my understanding of, I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, sorry, go on.
Okay, so my understanding is that when you subscribe to one of these services or you pay them to distribute your news, that the advantages are kind of twofold. Number one is that you get your press release on their website.
Mhm.
And then number two, they distribute that press release to all of their, local global media outlets.
Yeah, the downstream partners, they call it. Now it's up to the downstream partners to publish it or not. Most of them automatically do, but a few of the big boys, the Fox, the ABCs, let's say, they will have their own discretion to some degree. Um, Typically, the downstreams don't. They'll publish them, but they're not the ones that rank well. Ironically, it's usually the actual main source that ranks the best. So it'll be accesswire.com/your story, and
Right.
you'll see your story, the same exact thing, copy and pasted across 100 different platforms. But Google's attitude is it's only going to show one of the articles. It's not going to show five in a row of the same thing on Google.
Right. So your main article gets published on the press release site, like you said, like Globe Newswire, for example. That may have gotten distributed to hundreds or maybe thousands of other sites. And maybe only a fraction of those sites actually pick up the article and distribute it.
Mhm.
And let's just say, use real numbers. Let's say that 50 places besides the main press release site actually publish the article. Then to your point, Google is probably going to pick either the main press release site or maybe like, the Fox News affiliate in Louisville, Kentucky, for whatever reason.
Yeah,
It's going to
yeah, it's
publish one of the
this
two.
yeah, there's no rhythm to it. It's weird. For one client, it might go to a downstream and it'll pop on Google. For another one, it might pop on the main source or it might pop on a different downstream.
Right.
Google has a mind of its own sometimes.
Right. So if you're watching this video and you think, oh, I'm just going to do a paid press release on Globe Newswire, or I forgot what it was called already, Globe Access Wire.
Globe Newswire, Access Wire, two
Okay.
phones.
Okay. So I'm going to publish it there, and then I'm going to get published in 50, online newspapers across the country. And all of a sudden, all those articles are going to pop on the page one, and it's going to push down the negative stuff. Like, that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, you need variety. That's why we do so many of them. So, we're definitely much more affordable than our competitors, but once you start signing up all these outlets and factoring your time of writing them, you can see our profit margins really slim. Because these outlets do cost money and you do a lot of them because, you know, you can't use just one source either. So some are more expensive than the others, but you need the variety to get multiple websites to outrank the negative. And you can publish a few different stories to the same outlet and get a few different stories to rank well. But after like between 2 and 4, Google kind of starts showing only the more recent ones. So again, hence why you do a wide variety of outlets.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've talked about the different paid release sites. Earlier you were talking about sort of the length. I think you mentioned like 1,000 words is sort of the target.
Yeah.
And another point is that it's got to have, some aspect of newsworthiness.
Yeah.
To it.
Creative. You can, for clients, businesses, like, oh, they're celebrating 3 years in business this summer, or promotions. If you have a new person hired, a new service offered, you're an individual. You can say you're celebrating 10 years working at a certain business,
Right?
Sometimes they get a little. It really depends at the end of the day what editor you get who reviews it. But we've done things where you just kind of like share insight. So if you're a chemical engineer, you can share your insight into the industry, and that works.
Right.
Worst case scenario too, we do a lot of interview sites that rank really well. And so we can publish them into an interview site, which anyone can get into. You just got to pay the fee. And then we can do something. John Smith was featured in Inspiry interviews, and that always goes through.
Right. So the press release itself probably is not going to be on par with something you're going to see in your local newspaper or on the 6 o'clock news. It doesn't need to be
you're not going to have mainstream media.
Right. But it doesn't need to be that level of a story.
No.
It just needs to be like, hey, so-and-so was, featured on this, or so-and-so donated, money to the charity, as you used that example earlier.
Yeah. At the end of the day, these outlets just want their money. And if they do reject it, they'll give you a reason why, and they let you tune it up and try again. And then they want you to submit it and get paid.
Yeah. And then in terms of, so if one were doing this, how to optimize it? Let's say that, my name is Bob Smith and I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and there's some bad stuff coming up for, my name with Louisville. So Bob Smith, Louisville sort of is my keyword. How would you then optimize that press release to rank for that keyword?
So you would have to have Louisville in the title and then throughout the body text a few times. Don't abuse it. You're allowed to have a city and state as the source. Put that into the city state, obviously. And some of them allow keywords. You can backlink to certain things. So I would recommend doing that name with LouisvilleNet.com, through GoDaddy or whatnot, whatever you like. And then you can backlink, promote, mention the homepage you created too. So you can get the homepage to pop as well. And then you could use a click team that are very Kentucky based and drive it up that way as well.
Okay. And of course you have to have Bob Smith in the title as well.
Yes. Yeah, you want all your keywords in the title. The title is very important.
Is there anything else here that we can share that would help people use a press release?
The click team through us, great option. But if you don't want to spend the money, just share it on your social media. Try to get people to want to click on it through the title, something eye-catching, because Google's put a big emphasis, especially lately, on who clicks on what. And unfortunately, human nature is to click on negative articles, not your press release. Even though press releases do rank really well naturally, the click team is what drives it home.
Right.
But each
Okay.
client's different. If your negative's on page 2, I wouldn't worry about a click team because these press releases typically rank middle, bottom, page 1 naturally on their own. But if you have a negative that's top of page 1, then it's a whole different story.
Got it. So it's sort of be, publish a press release, make it lengthy, optimize it, don't make it spammy,
Mhm.
and then share it on your social media. And then if you have access to a click team, use that.
Yeah, and use third person. So John Smith said this versus I said this.
Right. It's a good way to get your keyword into the article, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, Matt. We'll share some other tips in some of our other videos.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.